Okay, custom white balance, what is it? You've probably noticed in the menu of your camera, if you've had it long enough, that there's a custom white balance setting. And also when you look at the white balance settings on your dial, you can have the opportunity to set custom white balance within there. Most people use auto white balance, and DSLRs these days are good enough to just keep the camera on auto. So why would you use custom white balance? Well, if you're in a situation like we're in here, and I purposely haven't adjusted the white balance on the video camera, so you're probably seeing a kind of yellowish orangey tinge to the photo, and that's because I've added a light in the office, which is just a typical standard lamp which you get in most houses, and it throws off a kind of orangey yellow light. And if you're taking photos without flash in that situation, then you're going to get kind of orangey yellowy looking photos with a bit of a colour cast on them. So this is where the custom white balance comes in quite handy. If you're only taking 1 or 2 photos, you can use auto white balance and then just use one. If you're shooting RAW, use one click on your software program to convert RAW. Just one click will normally correct the white balance. But if you want to take a lot of photos, maybe you've got a family function going on and you're taking lots of photos indoors, and you want to set a correct white balance to start off with, that's where the custom white balance comes in. And I'll show you how to use it. All I'm going to do is take a shot without flash of the piano behind me, and I'm using 80th of a second on shutter priority, it doesn't really matter, and 1000 ISO just to make sure I get a well exposed shot. So what I'm going to do first of all, this is how you, for most cameras, you'll set the correct white balance. So I'm just going to take a photo as is on auto white balance. So my settings are auto white balance, 80th of a second at 1000 ISO, and I'm going to take a photo just using the light from the standard lamp there. So let's just do that. Take a photo of the piano. Hasn't got to be particularly artistic, but you can probably see on that shot that it again is fairly yellow. It's got a bit of a cast to it, a bit of a colour cast, and that's because, like I said, we're using the typical standard lamp indoors with no flash. So now what you need to do is leave that photo alone, leave it where it is, and then you go to your menu and you find the custom white balance setting and you click on it, and that photo, the last photo you took, will appear in the screen, and it says set. It should say, depending on what camera you've got, you just press the set button and then it comes up with a message that says use white balance data from this image for custom white balance. So you just go over to OK, press OK, and now the camera will tell you to set the white balance on your dial to the custom white balance setting. So if we go in and do that now, so that's now set. The camera has now used that last image to set any custom white balance that you've got, taking into account the light that we're using. And I've now set the camera to the custom white balance setting. So now let's take another photo and see how it comes out. Exactly the same settings, 1000 ISO, 60th or 80th of a second. There we go. And you can see quite clearly now that the yellow orangey cast has completely disappeared from the shot. If you look at both of those together, the first one there, very yellowy orangey colour cast to it. Second setting, it's completely got rid of that colour cast, that yellow colour cast. So you can now leave your camera on the custom white balance setting, and it will take the same white balance photos for the duration you've got it still on there. Now obviously if you change your location and you go outside or somewhere, then that's going to really throw everything out. So remember, if you do change your location, just to put it back to auto white balance. But if you're shooting a lot of photos indoors, say at a party where there's lots of these tungsten lights or fluorescent lights around, use that facility to set a custom white balance, and then you can just shoot all night knowing that all your photos are going to come out with the same colour, with no colour cast. So give that a go. Find it on your camera and your DSLR, because obviously they're all different. Canon, Nikon, Olympus, Sony, they're all very different. So look for that custom white balance feature, have a play with it and learn how to use it. And I can guarantee that it will save you lots and lots of time in post-processing when you're shooting indoors in a situation like this.